Hello, welcome back. This is the book called The Inside Mad for a showing or a review because back in the day when Mad magazine was sold everywhere, supermarket checkouts, corner stores, this is your to go to for comics that were funny. They were actually funny. It just has a bit of everything in here. I believe I picked this up at the Dollarama years ago for $5. I don't know how they got a hold of it, but I'm glad they did because I only paid $5 for it, I believe. If not, I probably would have picked it up at the BMV, the Books, Movies, and Videos in Toronto, the store that sells this kind of stuff too. But you can download this stuff online, but back in the day, these things, they weren't very expensive like they are today. Last time I checked, before they stopped selling Mad magazine, was up to $5.99 when I used to buy it. It was only not even a couple bucks. Back in the 80s, it was like under $1. We didn't have the taxes that we have today, but they had all kinds of stuff. It was just a mixed bag of, Roseanne Barr was on the cover. This is one I did grab from back in the day in the grocery stores was called AMP. This used to be in the magazine aisle or variety store, and I grabbed it from one of the places when Roseanne was still on the air. Apparently it turned to Connors, and I watched it all. So this is the full satire of Roseanne. And in between satires, they had other things going. Thing on Elvis Presley here, where they had knockoff ads, because the ads in back in the day, just like today, are too much. So sometimes they used to knock off the ads. Their idea was to knock things off that they found annoying, or they thought was too much, because back in the 80s, things did clutter the airways. But this one was going back in the day. Tommy Fairline, interview with him. I remember this one. I picked this up at a corner store, and it was called Max, not Circle K, with a cat on the cover for the grocery store. It's like a corner store. I picked this one up, and that was one of the articles in that book. Yeah, see, Whoopi Goldberg. That wasn't a bad one. It's about the Oscars. It's every year in the States. Okay, this is one before I was born. I picked it up downtown Toronto from a comic book store because I was only born in 1975. I believe this one was with Exorcist on the cover. And that was a good spoof on The Exorcist too, because it's considered a very... Well, yeah, one thing in the margins of the... Sergio Aragon's, the Spanish guy, was always doing cartoons in each corners of the margins. This is a good book too. There's another good one. Now back before it got big, they were doing knockoffs of some different things that they found way back in the day. Yep. Okay. I might have had to download that one. I didn't buy this one. This was a little bit later. We're talking about YouTube and all that. But it lost its taste. So eventually, Mad did lose its taste, and they had this is General Patton. He called it General Put On. It's done by Mort Drucker. Angela Torres is another artist. It wasn't Mort Drucker, it was also Angela Torres for the TVs and movie satires. Okay, the original Batman 1966, before my time. That's something you have to download, or if you can get a copy off of eBay, you're not going to get it cheap. Well, that's just damaged. That's another good one. And you can tell they were drawing little things in the logo for Mad, the title. And the ones you just had to look at the art and not read anything. Just knocking off different things that they had. Now where Alfred Newman is a homeless guy. I didn't buy that issue either. I think it lost its taste then. That's why it says going on hard times, because yes, it was deemed not funny eventually. Something like that. You have to read the artwork, and there's other one in the corner. So I think it was bi-monthly back in, yeah, flying the drafting plans, and then they put in the building. Now this one, apparently Mad Magazine got into trouble because they have lawyers. This magazine had to have lawyers because they were knocking everything off. But apparently they got complaints from the movie makers from Frankenstein who didn't like that. But apparently Rob Zombie loved it. Rob Zombie used to read Mad Magazine too, the famous singer Rob Zombie. I listened to his music as well. Full House. I was still reading Mad Magazine from the corner store at this time when this was published, so I probably would have bought this issue. And this is an earlier one from the 80s, from the 18. I didn't know about them because I was young. I didn't know Mad Magazine had existed, but I probably did see it sitting in a magazine rack and didn't even know it at that time, because I was young. Going back to 1983. This guy, Don Martin, was really good. He eventually went to Cracked Magazine, the one that used to draw like that. He's another good artist. Al Jaffe, I think that's his name that drew that stuff. Ice-T, because he did a Law and Order, yes, Law and Order episode of Mad Magazine. And still, yes, the guy was doing in the corners the artwork. Now, sometimes you're lucky. I didn't get those Mad Magazines with the photos, but you got like a Where's Waldo with Sergio Aragon's Where's Waldo kind of a thing. And you got a wall poster of Alfred Newman, the mascot. Oops. I wouldn't pull it out. I don't recommend pulling it out, because Mad Magazine is finished. It's no longer around. But Gen Xers know all about Mad Magazine. People, maybe that was about the TV show. TV show was mentioned on TikTok all the time, and YouTube. A lot of people forget that Mad TV came from Mad Magazine. And Slash, apparently from Guns N' Roses, was a fan of Mad, and I did buy that one from the grocery store or corner store at the time. I do remember reading that one. Total Recall. The movie was good, and the satire was even better. They really did a rundown on that. More odds and ends of stuff that they put in their magazine. And this is stuff that they had way back. Today's audience would be able to get the jokes, because apparently it came from the 50s Mad, because Mad was in the 50s. It got to be Survivor. I didn't read that. Survivor's in this one. So as I'm flipping through it, you get an idea of what Mad Magazine was about. Just a series of spoofs and knockoffs. And they never mentioned too much about Canada, because it is from the States. Mad magazine is from the States, so they didn't talk too much about Canada's Prime Minister or anything like that. They did, however, mention Doug Ford's brother before he died in Mad magazine, but it was a very big thing. Not even a big article, just a small little mention about him in Columbo. Columbo. Great Gen X should know Columbo. He used to be on the air back in the day when we were small kids, and was all detective. Another one of Don Martin. Adventure in Time. I didn't read it then. It's about Adventure in Time. Something on Al Jaffe. He used to do the fold-ins. There used to be fold-ins, and each of these Mad magazines had fold-ins, and they don't have it here. Because then you probably damaged the book, or they just didn't want to take the time and effort to throw any Mad fold-ins in here. Then they had little jokes like this, but this was after I quit reading it because I found it a little bit silly. Another Gen X movie that they were with Woody Allen. Yeah. Hannah and Her Sisters. I was trying to think of the title. Hannah and Her Sisters. And they're doing comic strips. Now this one, LA Law. Every Gen X should know that. And Lethal Weapon. And this one here. Anyways, that's about it. Banana Republic. Remember the store? Used to have one in Yorkdale Mall in Toronto. And I think it's gone. Oh yeah, Spy vs. Spy was always a joy to read in every Mad magazine. There were two spies trying to kill each other in every episode. Every comic strip. And I'm not sure what this is. I probably stopped reading it by then, when it lost its taste. David Lynch. Yeah, the guy who did Twin Peaks, I believe. But there's no mention of it here. Kanye West, okay, yeah. Yeah, real American stuff. And other stuff in the corner. Mad Men. I never really got into that. I think I stopped reading Mad magazine by then. It's kind of like Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live used to be funny back in the day, but then it lost its taste. Mad magazine is still around today, but it costs $20, and it's just reissues. They're just reissuing everything. I do remember this. 30 Suffering. That was from say 1989, something like that. Doogie Howser was around and so on. George Lopez. Now there's an original cartoon of Spy vs. Spy. Okay, this wraps it up. I think I skipped a page. It is a hardcover book. Jedi's Bunch. And they had something silly like that. So that concludes my Mad magazine, Dig into the Past with Mad. Thank you very much for watching. Have yourself a good night.